comment. However, one of the things that this proposed procedure addresses is that something that you brought up a little earlier, which is there could be and probably will be issues separate from the access channels that the Telecommunications Board may have brought to its attention. And previous to this, there has never been a documented procedure for a citizen or a resident to follow to say to the Telecommunications Board, I'm having a real issue with the YouTube situation here, and I would like for you to look at it. Now, we do have established policies for complaints regarding programming or operations of the access channels, or the public access channel and the government channel. But prior to this, there hasn't been that, and this is focused on that particular as well. So, yeah, we have established policies for the government channel, for the public access channel, for people to go and give them an opportunity to go beyond that policy as well. And then this was, the idea behind this was to create a structure for both the board and the citizens to interact for issues that citizens have that were beyond the access channels.
Okay, excuse me, Jim. I agree with somebody that asked a few minutes ago. If you've got some specific changes on this document, we got 25 minutes or less till one of the members has to leave. So go to those and bring them out now, because we've got a meeting coming up in a week or so of the full board. We'd like to be able to talk about possibilities of actually changing it in this committee or at the full board.
I hear you, and I will forego any other questions, but those are the kinds of questions that I hope we can answer based on the complaints I have already made. And,
So,
and the policy itself would have to address, if this is not a policy, it's a procedure.
It is a procedure.
And it's a procedure for you, for this board. That I welcome this, and I'm glad it's being done, because there were never any complaints because we didn't that were followed through, because we didn't have a process, and that was the point. So we've really made progress here.
So if we were to consider the complaints that you brought under this policy, would that work for you? Just the procedure itself? I'm sorry. If we took one of your complaints and ran it through this process,
That's what I hope we'd do.
and we gave you an answer.
So you're satisfied that with, upon approving this in August, you're satisfied with this procedure to handle your complaints that you have from last year?
It will serve as a format, a framework for discussion of my complaint. Yes.
And there's no other discussion that you have related to this document? You're satisfied with this? You're happy with this document?
Yeah, other than the things I mentioned, I'm not very happy with those.
Okay.
You may or may not be happy with the outcome of the board's consideration.
No, I mean.
But, I mean, we now have a structure to follow, and we can show you, this is what we're gonna do. It's one of these things, and if you wanna take it higher than that, then go to city council.
Mr. Reeves,
Right, well,
pardon me just a moment. Let me ask you a question. Were we gonna go through this line by line and approve and disapprove?
I think
In this meeting?
I think your plan just to approve the entire document unless there was something
Okay.
specific in
Yeah.
the document.
If there were any changes that needed to be made.
Mr. Reeves, I was afraid we were gonna run out of time.
sure, go ahead, y'all, I'm giving you, you can shut me down anytime.
Well, let
I'm
me
through.
interject then. Yes, this should be, if it's not gone through line to line here, then it should be done in the full board meeting. Because this should be a public discussion of the details of that carried out by this board. It's not something for the administration, and it's got to go to the council in a form that we honestly can say we support when the full board votes on it.
This isn't something that goes to the council. I mean, this is just adopted within our internal administrative rules.
Okay, well, at that point, regardless, the public, we're doing this for the public to satisfy any public complaint.
And it was posted
And-
to the city clerk that this was a public meeting as well.
Right, but we happen to be involved with a television station and other ways to share the information. And if the board does not publicly discuss the contents of these things, then there's not much legitimacy to a vote.
At that
Because,
point, after the meeting, the meeting's gonna be televised after we've already made a decision on it. And so any discussion that's been had is previous, it's post to what's already occurred. Right now is our opportunity to go through and discuss this right now. This is the
Right.
reason why we've all taken an hour out of our days to
Right.
go through this document and make sure we don't want to nitpick it or change anything. And the document was emailed out, there's copies of it here now. If there's anything that you would like to look through and discuss, if you've not had a chance to read it, we've got an extra copy of it, but now's our opportunity to go through this. I understand what you're saying about the public.
it does
needs to
need to be read in full.
We can read the document in full to the public, if you'd like, during our August meeting. However, at this point, the question is, do we want to approve this document and take it to the Telecommunications Board and say, our determination is, this is what needs to be adopted and add to our administrative rules? Do you
I
have
feel
any-
like this is a good first step, yes.
Agree. Perfect. Is there any reason we can't read the document aloud during the August meeting? Just say this is what we've approved, read through the process, just to make sure that it's not public knowledge as to what the process is? I think that's fair, is it not?
Nothing's written in stone, we can change it later, yeah. I don't see any problem.
Okay, so what is our decision on this document?
Do you have any motions with respect to?
I move we approve it.
I second that.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Then we'll recommend it for passage to the full board at the next meeting. Anything else for the subcommittee to discuss?
Yeah, I would just, if I may have just a couple of minutes.
Absolutely.
To talk about the actual procedure. The subcommittee, as you were saying, Russ, is that, yes, you're right. This is where the work is done. This is where the big discussions are had. That's why we open these meetings to the public, is so the discussions about, well, we need to change this word from initially to secondarily. Those kinds of things, or someone can bring up the idea, an idea of, I think you left something out here, could you add this in? And these working meetings are so we don't have to spend an inordinate amount of time in full board meetings, because you gentlemen are doing the actual work of this committee and of this procedure. And then your vote to say, we pass this on to the full board with our recommendation for passage, or you could pass it on and say, we need to do more work on it, or however. But in the full board meeting, there's never any issue with reading the entire document. I mean, this is not a very long document, it won't take very long to read. I don't know how you want to go with that.
I just want to be clear that we're moving to pass this on to the board,
Yes.
not
Yes.
waiting to discuss it with the board, because that's what we're doing right now.
Right.
And so that's what I just
I
want to
think
make
that's
sure.
what I was reinforcing, is what you were saying there, is that while it can be read in the full board meeting, I don't know that you would want to debate every little detail of it.
No.
That would kind of negate the work of the board, of the committee here.
That's exactly what I was saying. We're taking time out of our days to do this right now.
Yeah.
So that the telecom meeting is not, the meeting itself doesn't run on air for 3 hours.
So what I will do is would you like me to put this as a single line item on the agenda for the board meeting?
That would be
Separate from committee reports?
Sure.
Okay. Perfect.
No problem.
Sounds good to me.
Anything else?
Since I have you here, are there any other suggestions or any other things that you would like to have specifically added to the agenda? And I'll work on getting that sent out today.
I don't believe so.
Okay, and I will include this in the packet. It will still say draft until it is passed, or until whatever version is passed by the full board.
Okay.
Will there be there'll be room at the end of the agenda for discussion?
There's always room at the end of the agenda for people to come and make comments. And then usually what will happen, as the board wants to, is to ask for public comments as things are being discussed and things are being debated, each in particular.
All right. If nothing else, we stand adjourned.
Thank you. Appreciate your work, John.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Mike, good to see you again. Thank you. So is that next week or week after?
It's
Coming weekend.
a week from Thursday.
Okay.